The hip-hop world is in chaos, and it has nothing to do with music. T.I. and Tiny Harris, once celebrated as rap's ultimate power couple, are now caught in allegations so dark they could end careers forever. But the real shock? Their son, King Harris, is being dragged straight into the storm. It all began when Sabrina Peterson, once a close friend, now their loudest critic, went public with explosive claims of trafficking, coercion, and even drugging women. What's true? What's rumor? And how deep does this scandal really go? The answers may shake the entire industry. The internet exploded overnight, and for good reason. This isn't your average celebrity drama. This is the kind of controversy that threatens reputations, freedom, and entire legacies. At the center of it all are explosive allegations of prostitution, manipulation, and abuse of power happening behind the scenes. And once King's name got dragged into the chaos, things went from bad to downright dangerous. It all began with what seemed like just another throwaway comment online, but the words carried weight. "It's a beautiful day, bro. God blessed us with this day. Don't take it for granted." Stop spreading negativity just because you're unhappy with yourself. Your blessings are coming too. A motivational message on the surface, but in the world of celebrity feuds, nothing is ever that simple. Because right after, the drama shifted into high gear, and when Tiny Harris suddenly appeared in the mix, commenting under a post made by Ebony Electra, a close friend of the late Kim Porter, the internet knew this wasn't random. It was a signal, a shot fired, and the spark that set off a chain reaction of gossip, accusations, and shocking revelations. This isn't just about one feud, it's about secrets unraveling in real time, and the fallout could shake more than just one family. The piece discussed Diddy's recent trial, in which he was found not guilty of sex trafficking and racketeering. Tiny said, "People want to charge you so bad for being freaky, nasty work." Sabrina Peterson wasn't amenable to that, even if she likely felt it was a smart joke, perhaps a slight jab at the critics. Peterson then jumped in, accusing Tiny directly and relating the remark to her own charges on what she says has been happening in the Harris home. She claims that the Harris family has victims in addition to skeletons in their closet. With a statement that left everyone in disbelief, Sabrina returned stronger than ever. She practically promised that the public hasn't yet seen the full extent of her receipts when she wrote, "Lying on me was the beginning of your end." And she is asserting that she has receipts. She claims to have proof linking T and Tiny, as well as their 20-year-old son, King Harris, to coercion and human trafficking. We are discussing purported text messages that King exchanged with a young woman whose family allegedly contacted Sabrina in a desperate attempt to help them, believing their daughter had become entangled in a drug and prostitution network run by the Harris family. Leave a tip. I said what I said. Why doesn't she talk about being stuck? So why are we discussing that? Let's begin. Yes. Would you all like to discuss that? Engage in it. She hasn't told you much, and I'm trying to figure out why. She used to go recruit the "What's Up," so why hasn't she informed you about it? Hello. They're going to say that now. That's not the kind of thing you say carelessly. Furthermore, the fact that she maintains that the federal government already has it gives the situation a much more serious tone than mere online rumors. She even says she kept your kids safe, a statement that rocked the fan community, since it implied that she had been hiding or suppressing information out of loyalty up to this point. It would be impossible to discuss this matter without bringing up Sabrina Peterson's past with T and Tiny. She has already let them see the light of day. She made public allegations in 2021 that T had threatened to kill her by putting a gun to her head. Additionally, she asserted that the pair had a history of drugging women before using them. It blew up at the time, across social media with individuals who are polarized. Some immediately believed her, while others defended Tiny and T as being the targets of clout chasing. Sabrina has continued to exert pressure ever since, and it seems like she's attempting to land the knockout blow in this most recent round. Although the Harris family has consistently refuted her assertions, the shadow they created has never really gone away. Now that King's name is involved, it appears to be a full-fledged scandal rather than just an old feud. For his part, King Harris has already been a source of controversy before to this. The young man has been attempting to establish himself in the rap industry, but rather than his music, his name typically becomes popular due to public outbursts, fights that go viral, or conflicts with his father. After disputing with T over his upbringing, claiming that he was harsh and misunderstood, he went viral not long ago. T and Tiny attempted to remind him that he was raised in a mansion. Fans make fun of him for trying too hard to be a street kid while he was raised in a wealthy household. Furthermore, it's reasonable to assume that King's reputation hasn't always been the finest. However, being accused of sending SMS linked to human trafficking is more than simply negative publicity. That's illegal territory. People are questioning if King was involved in something larger than himself, whether he knew what he was doing, or whether his name is simply being brought up in relation to his parents' ongoing conflict with Sabrina Peterson. In any case, no one anticipated that things would get so twisted. Fans' responses within the hip-hop scene have been wildly inconsistent. Some individuals immediately took Sabrina's side, arguing that since she has been dependable for years, she must be motivated by something genuine. The timing seems strange to others, who point out that these stories usually tend to resurface when the Harrises become popular again. Even though Tiny's remark under the Diddy post was thoughtless, Sabrina saw it as a trigger, evidence that Tiny continues to make fun of the concept of accountability. Furthermore, it's hard to avoid pausing when accusations using the terms trafficking and coercion are made. The stakes are really high. Furthermore, the Harris family may face indictments in addition to humiliation if anything Sabrina says turns out to be true. This is where the intensity increases even further. Sabrina is not merely threatening to withhold this proof. She says it's already in the hands of federal officials. That implies that this is more than just online drama. In her opinion, it might be a genuine case that is developing behind closed doors. In an attempt to determine whether this is smoke without fire or the beginnings of something catastrophic, fans are analyzing every word and every Instagram post. T has devoted years to creating a successful business and music empire. Tiny is on reality TV and has her own legacy in the music industry. Despite ongoing criticism, King has been working to establish himself. However, if Sabrina's allegations are true, everything might fall apart, and the Harris name would be permanently linked to one of the most repulsive scandals in hip-hop history. Given that T and Tiny have been plagued by scandal for years, it is evident why these latest charges are so severe when you examine their past. Ty wasn't simply another Atlanta-based rapper. With hits like Whatever You Like and Live Your Life, he moved from working in the streets to being a household star and one of the pioneers of trap music. He established himself as the Southern monarch, and he lived up to it for a long time. Incorporate Tiny, a vocalist from the renowned R&B group Scape. On T and Tiny, The Family Hustle, they appeared to be a power couple who successfully juggled their celebrity from reality TV with their hip-hop credentials. They appeared to have everything from the outside, a mansion full of children and fans who viewed them as Atlanta royalty, music, and wealth. Drama, however, was always present behind the polished exterior. Furthermore, the persistent allegations of abuse and manipulation imply that the story isn't as clear-cut as it first appeared to be. The most vocal person cutting at that picture has been Sabrina Peterson, and you can understand why she isn't letting up if you look closely into her past with the Harris family. Sabrina was hanging out, working hard, and establishing her own commercial empire in the early 2000s, much like T and Tiny. However, she and the couple's relationship deteriorated, and by 2021, it had escalated into open conflict. At that point, her accusation that T had put a gun to her head during a fight became viral. Several women came forward with accounts at about the same time, alleging that the Harrises had lured them into circumstances where they were reportedly drugged and exploited. Naturally, the pair denied everything, but the volume of comments raised some eyebrows. Critics charged that Sabrina was using social media to weaponize her personal resentment while positioning herself as a representative for the claimed victims. Her most recent accusations are like adding fuel to a fire that never really went out, and the tension has never truly subsided. King Harris's inclusion in the 2024-2025 wave of claims is what sets it apart. The majority of the drama has so far been confined to T and Tiny, who are mature and accountable for their own deeds. However, bringing King into the issue is akin to entangling a new generation. King has long been seen as the Harris clan's rebellious child, the person who declines to act like a polished celebrity child. Rather, he has gained widespread attention for his public altercations, live streaming confrontations, and arguments with his parents concerning his upbringing. His attempt to appear tougher than his upbringing is ridiculed by others, who point out that he was raised in a gated estate rather than in the trenches. He has been the subject of internet jokes due to his attempt to establish street credibility. But these jokes now seem much darker because the claims put him at the center of text exchanges related to human trafficking. Fans are arguing over whether King is more involved than people realized, or if he is being unfairly drawn into adult turmoil. In any case, his name is now permanently etched on the narrative, and it cannot be dismissed. All of this has turned social media into a battlefield. Using Instagram stories and postings as a weapon, Sabrina has made big claims, left cryptic clues, and promised information that might upend the game. She is playing chess in public, taunting admirers and detractors while creating excitement for whatever it is she says she is clinging to. She sent a bomb into the rumor mill when she said that the feds already had this. Fans began guessing right away. Is she assisting the authorities? Are there any ongoing investigations that we are unaware of? Or is she only playing a sleight of hand, utilizing the possibility of federal intervention to support her story? Reddit forums, Twitter threads, and comment sections are flooded with these inquiries, and people are analyzing every action as if it were a real-time crime drama. The Harris family is attempting to maintain their position in the meanwhile. When his name is called, T usually speaks up right away, but this time, silence speaks more than words. He and Tiny have not publicly responded to Sabrina's most recent allegations, and their silence is only stoking further rumors. Some claim that they are ignoring her because the charges are unfounded and unworthy of an answer. Others think that they are strategically remaining silent, lawyering up and not saying anything that might be used against them in the future. In any case, fans are upset with the absence of a ferocious response, particularly considering T is infamous for his lengthy Instagram tirades anytime someone questions him. His silence now raises suspicions for a man whose reputation was based on his candor. It's also impossible to overlook the fact that Tiny's initial remarks set off the fire. Diddy was specifically mentioned in her comment that people want to charge you for being freaky, but it also seemed to belittle all the victims who have come forward in recent years to speak out against influential guys in the industry. Survivors perceived it as mocking at worst and tone-deaf at best. Taking advantage of that enthusiasm, Sabrina framed Tiny's remarks as evidence that she still doesn't take responsibility seriously. Additionally, Tiny's choice to hit post might turn out to be one of the worst decisions she's made in a long time in a world where public opinion can shift drastically in an instant. It provided her adversary with the opportunity to resurrect old accusations and affix fresh ones to the family name. Fans are coming to understand that this story is about more than just one family conflict as it develops. It has to do with hip-hop's broader culture of power and quiet. Like many famous people, the Harris family has long exuded riches, power, and dominance. They live in a society where access is crucial, and detractors contend that this kind of setting makes it easy for abuse to go undetected. Fans are being forced to consider what actually happens behind the closed doors of famous residences, regardless of whether Sabrina is revealing the truth or only stoking a personal grudge. Hip-hop may be facing one of its most catastrophic controversies to date if she is telling the truth. Even if she is exaggerating, the Harris legacy is permanently marred by it, since such thick mud is difficult to remove. In any case, King Harris, the son who has been attempting to establish himself as more than just T and Tiny's child, is now enmeshed in a web of charges that could follow him for the rest of his life. The Harris family may be in for a harsh shock if they believe that this controversy would be resolved quickly, like another online myth, because accusations like the ones that are currently around them don't simply go away over time. It's more than simply sloppy gossip when you use terms like prostitution, drugging, and trafficking. Lawyers, investigators, and possibly even federal agents are involved in that type of conversation. The fact that Sabrina Peterson insists she's not just venting is what scares T and Tiny the most. She claims to be sitting on evidence, and the federal government already has such proof. The Harris family may be facing the battle of their life if she is telling the truth. Thus, that assertion alone transforms the entire discussion. In a courtroom, not on a TV show or in a rap fight. Consider the amount of progress T has made throughout the years. Millions from TV series, investments, endorsements, acting parts, and music. He is no longer merely an Atlanta rapper. His reputation as a businessman goes well beyond hip-hop. In addition to her time with Escape, Tiny too has left a legacy as a mother figure on television, maintaining the family's prominence and running the household. Being the hip-hop family has always been the foundation of their brand, flawed, to be sure, but ambitious, fun, and prosperous. This is why the most recent round of accusations strikes so differently, because if it persists, the entire family brand is destroyed in addition to harming them personally. If the media claim that you are being probed for human trafficking, no one will believe your reality TV portrayal of a family business. Not to be overlooked is King Harris. At this age, he should be starting his own business, leaving his parents' shadow and making a name for himself in the rap industry. However, his name is being linked to claims that most rappers wouldn't even survive if they were caught up in them. Rather than creating buzz for his songs, others feel sorry for him, wondering whether he's just collateral damage in Sabrina's battle against his parents. Fans are already making fun of him online, saying things like, he's trying to act street, but got caught up in the wrong kind of street business. In any case, King is in a precarious position. His name will always be associated with this controversy, even if it is never established. The business is also keeping a tight eye on him, because in hip-hop, one's image is everything and may ruin a career before it ever begins. Recall how swiftly networks and businesses abandoned him after his remarks went too far, or how quickly Diddy's business fell apart as the charges against him became legal action. That's what Tiny and T are currently living in. Networks, sponsors, and investors don't want to be associated with musicians who are suspected of human trafficking. The stigma alone is enough to drive people away, even if these claims are not followed by charges. It's similar to carrying a scarlet letter around. Even if there is no proof, rumors about your alleged crimes circulate everywhere you go. The problem is that Sabrina isn't going to back down. She is presenting herself as a victim advocate. Additionally, she obtains more admirers each time she makes a shocking internet statement, with many praising her for defying well-known figures. It almost seems as though she lives on the criticism. Therefore, she isn't afraid of it. Sabrina always jumps in when Tiny or T publish something that can be seen as suspicious, using it as support for her story. The Harris family doesn't appear to have figured out how to stop her from playing the long game. It hasn't worked to ignore her. Threats haven't been effective. Furthermore, the situation is now completely beyond their control due to the potential for federal participation. The main concern for fans is whether we're witnessing the start of yet another celebrity's demise or merely another round of drama with he said, she said. One thing is certain though, even in the absence of charges, these allegations are grave enough to cause harm. On their resume, the Harris family name is associated with something that no one wants. Consider the legacy that T was creating, the man who went from the trap to the boardroom, who helped make Atlanta famous, who asserted his claim to the Southern crown. R&B singer, Tiny became a reality TV matriarch. King was attempting to demonstrate that he is more than just a famous child. Now, Sabrina's statements, her receipts, and the potential that the federal government is listening have tainted all of that. Fans are discussing, blogs are blogging, and the streets are talking. However, the whole truth has not yet been revealed. The Harris family is caught in a state of uncertainty until it happens, having to choose between protecting their reputation and anticipating whatever Sabrina will reveal next. They are being observed at every turn. Every silence is taken as an admission of guilt. Each post became proof, either positive or negative. It's a hazardous location, and if history is any indication, things will only get more complicated before becoming obvious. Hold on tight, because the Harris family will be at the center of one of the most outrageous scandals hip-hop has seen in a long time, whether it is in courtrooms, Instagram lives, or breaking news headlines. The crazy thing is that we may only be getting started. Because this narrative is far from over, please subscribe, share, like, and comment to stay engaged.